services. You know, so I mean, there's ways that you can incorporate these words into your vocabulary. There's some continued words here. Personable. One of the things that I really like about our clients is they're very personable and friendly with their customers. They don't just, you know, we have a saying in the U.S. called wham bam, thank you ma'am. We don't do that. They don't do that. They really cultivate their customers and take good care of them and make sure that their customers are happy because they don't want turnover of their customers. A majority of customers leave leave a business because they felt ignored. That's the attrition. There's about a 60%, excuse me, not 60, wrong percentage, 20% attrition rate every year of a business, meaning 20% of their customers leave them every year, minimum. And it's because they felt ignored. So EMI really cultivates their customers and keeps them happy so that they stay long term. Okay, these are words that are negative and non-assertive that you would not use in your vocabulary. Like earlier, I caught myself, but I didn't change it. But I said, I just want to be honest with you. I should not have said that because it indicated that maybe the previous statement I just made wasn't honest. So I usually, 99.9% of the time, never say that. When I said it, I said, oops. But I thought I'll wait until we came to this so that I could let you know that that's not something I normally say because it's negative. We would never say, may I speak with, can I speak with, is it all right if I, could you, would you, I might, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know is a reactive response. You need to not use reactive responses, instead make it proactive. So if they ask you a question you don't know, it's better for you to say, I can find out. I'll be happy to get that information for you. So if it's not going to be a one-call close, it's okay, guys, to do a two-call close. It's okay. And here are some phrases that encourage interaction with your prospect. Like, what is your opinion? What do you think? Please illustrate. Explain to me. Share with me. I beg your pardon, or pardon me. We would want you to say, excuse me. Don't say, I'm sorry. When you didn't hear the prospect, don't say, I'm sorry. You're sorry for what? That you weren't paying attention and listening to me? Is that what you're sorry for? Right? Excuse me? What do you mean, excuse me? Sounds rude, right? Laughing. You say that. Excuse me. What did you do? Just pass gas or what? No. Okay. So we wouldn't say, excuse me, or I'm sorry. You would say, pardon me, or I beg your pardon. I prefer to say pardon me, because I don't want to use the word beg. Saying thank you, please is also very helpful. These are irritating words and phrases to leave out of your vocabulary. Absolutely. That's always overused. Absolutely. It's okay to use it once in a while, but not like overdo it. Actually, amazing. Anyways, are you following me? Instead of saying, are you following me, you could say, do you have any questions? You wouldn't say, are you following me? You say, do you have any questions? Are you serious? See, we just wouldn't say that. It's not professional. Baby daddy, baby mama. I just threw that in there because I know you don't say that, but in the U.S., people say stuff like that. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Baby daddy, baby mama. Do you guys know what that means? It's a phrase used in the U.S. I don't say it. I think it's weird. Basically, that's used a lot. Some of these words I know you won't use, like biatch, you would not use. know what I mean? You know what I mean? I hate that. My husband has a habit of saying that a lot. And then now I say it a lot. And I'm like, stop saying that, because now it's coming off on me. Frankly, exactly. One of my clients, I won't say who they are, she says exactly, like after end of, every time I say something profound, she goes, exactly. It's like, exactly. It's like, oh my goodness. These are a continuation, to be honest with you, is there, honestly. Hello? Is that right? We wouldn't say, is that right? Let me be clear. I've heard agents say that. Let me be clear. It sounds like you're scolding the prospect. Or the other, I'm going to go back to the other one. Listen. I've heard agents from the Philippines say that. Listen. And then they would say something. Or I'll go back again. Or that seems to be a really good, overused one. Like, saying like in as a filler in your statements. Wow. Hey man. Nah. Never mind. Not a problem. We would not say not a problem. Because what you've indicated that it could have been a problem. So we wouldn't say, oh, no problem. We would never say, use the word problem, where problem is a negative word. So what would you say instead? Instead of, not a problem. What would you say instead? What could you say instead?
No worries.
I'd be happy to. Or sure, that's great. I'm glad I was able to help. Just use some sort of a healthy statement. If they say, oh, I appreciate you helping me, instead of saying, no problem, or no, that's not a problem, not a problem. They say, oh, I'm glad I was able to help. Say that instead. Okay, that's a lot. You guys, not you, I don't know about you guys, but I hear agents say, okay, 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 constantly. Probably instead of probably. Oh, complimentary. It's not here, but I hear agents say complimentary. And it's not complimentary, it's complimentary. Shoot me now. Sorry, what did you say? What are you going to say instead? Pardon me. Yeah, these are all filler words because you're not sure what to say next. But you are sure. If you have your script, it's right there in front of you. What we have a tendency to do is not look at our script and look away from our script when we get lost. If you don't know the way, you've got to use your script. Because that will eliminate you saying ums and ahs throughout the course of your conversation. All that does is reinforce your lack of knowledge or confidence or ability. Or what's up? Also, one of the things I don't want you saying on the phone, I don't have it here, is how are you doing today? Yep. I don't want you to say how are you doing today. Because all that is a filler sentence to try to break the ice between you and your prospect, right? Correct? Your prospect gets irritated by it. They don't like it when you say, how are you doing today? Because they know for a fact you really don't care. You don't care how they're doing today. Are you going to spend the next 5 minutes on the phone with them hearing their plight? My dad used to do this. When my dad's gone to heaven now, but when he was very sick, he'd get telemarketing calls all day long because he was at home. And he always said to me, I never really appreciated what you did for a living until I stayed home and started getting all these telemarketing calls. And these telemarketers would always say, that first of all, they use his first name. Hi Frank. And that's rude. You never use a prospect's first name at first. Later we'll get into the first name queue. There's a first name queue you can use to call them by their first name. If they respond with their first name only, you can call them by their first name. Otherwise, you keep it on a last name basis. My dad's real name is Francis. So on the database, it'll always show Francis. So they'll say, hi Francis, and he knows nobody calls him by that. He's always called Frank, so he already knows it's a telemarketer. And the next thing they'll say is, how are you doing today? So what he does is he takes 5-10 minutes of their time telling them about all his operations, how he's feeling, what time he got up this morning, what he had for breakfast. Okay, so he did that just to be joking around, but you know, we just don't ask how are you doing today. It's not, I don't want you doing that because it's a turn off to your prospect because they know you really don't care. These are phrases that create interest. We would use these in our feature benefit statements. These are not all that you would use, but there's some of them here, such as eliminate hidden costs. We actually eliminate all hidden costs, so you're only paying, you know, just this. Will help increase your sales volume. And here you would, like for example, you get somebody who says, I don't accept credit cards. You get that. Well, what are your concerns about accepting credit cards? Well, I think it's too costly. Usually they don't accept credit cards because it's too costly for them. They think it's going to cost them a lot of money to transact. And it will with some merchant accounts, but not with ours. So what I do is somebody says, well, I don't accept credit cards in my business. So then I'll go through the rebuttal process. And I'll say, well, I appreciate you letting me know that. What are your concerns about accepting credit cards in your business? And they'll say, well, because it's too costly, I don't want to take up my profit to pay for the processing fees. Other than the processing fees, what other concerns do you have? You isolate the objection. They'll say, well, I don't have any, it's just that. I just don't want to pay the hefty processing fees. And then I'll ask, when was the last time you compared merchant accounts to determine if you could get really low processing fees that was very, very low, in fact, guaranteed to be the lowest out there, and it would help increase sales for your company? Well, I haven't done that. Okay, well, what I'd like to do is have an opportunity to compare apples to apples, find out exactly what kind of, you know, how much you would charge every month, what the cost would be for you, and how much increased business that you'll gain from that. Would that be all right with you? Sure. Now you can compare. Well, how much sales do you get every month? Well, I get $10,000 a month in sales. Okay, have you ever noticed anybody that came into your store that asked you if you accept credit cards and you had to say no and turn them down? Well, yeah, I have to turn down people. Do you have an estimation of how many people you would turn down? No, I don't really know. And new customers, maybe they don't come to you because they know you don't accept credit cards, so they go to your competitor because they only use a credit card. Nowadays, people use credit cards. They don't carry around cash. Majority of the population, consumers in today's market, now you got to educate them. Majority of the consumers in today's market, 70% of them use credit cards or debit cards, one or the other, which is the same thing. It's just they're using money out of their own bank account. If you could increase your business by additional 20, 30, 40% because you do offer credit card option or debit card option, and it didn't cost you very much to use that service, would that be something that would be important to you? Well, sure. How much does it cost? Actually, now you can go into the price. I do have a rebuttal for that, and I know that I probably said it a little bit differently than what it actually is for you, but I just threw that off the top of my head and just said it just like that. And basically, that's what we're doing for them, right? If they don't accept credit cards, 9 out of 10 times they don't accept credit cards because they don't want to pay the processing fees. Chances are they've been approached by a merchant provider that charged them way too much money. So now here's your opportunity to sell them what you have to offer and educate them that consumers, 70% of consumers will use credit or debit card these days. They don't want to pay cash anymore. They don't carry around cash. That's why we live in a credit card debt society, because everybody's using your credit cards. If you can increase your business by another 20, 30, 40% because you do offer credit card and it didn't cost very much money to process, would you be open in learning more about how you can do that? Yeah, I would. Now go into what you offer. Simple. Okay, these are some more. We offer the best terminals. The terminals that we offer are a state-of-the-art terminals, and it's absolutely a no cost to them. These are sales and marketing words, and we don't have time to go into them, but we'll give you a list. We can send over a list of these PowerPoints to you so that you can go through it with your people. There's some more. These are power words. Words are important. If you can start expanding your vocabulary and start using words that will help captivate your prospect, because that's all you have. You have your voice and you have your words. That's all you have. You know, like I said in the beginning of my conversation where some of you weren't here yet, you don't have body language, right? You don't have eye contact, you don't have body language. You only have your voice and your words.